Kristalina Georgieva was the last of the Commissioners designate to face a confirmation hearing in Parliament this week. Her nomination by Bulgaria for the International Cooperation, Humanitarian Aid and Crisis Response portfolio is slightly unusual in the sense she is a public servant rather than a politician. Nevertheless, she brings with her a wealth of relevant experience from a career spanning 17 years at the World Bank, most recently as its vice president. Her hearing comes 3 weeks after the devastation of Haiti following an earthquake on the 12th of January, and MEPs were anxious to know what lessons she thought could be drawn from the response to the crisis in the country, where efforts to supply aid have been heavily criticised.
I will promote the priorities that we have agreed on in the European consensus on humanitarian aid, more efficient aid, a better response capacity, improved coordination with the EU and between humanitarian and military actors. A very complex issue, but very important one. I do have an impression that there is still more room for a more coordinated and labelled as such European response.
The Commissioner-designate said it was important to find new ways of helping countries, referring by way of example to a $300,000 disaster insurance paid by the Canadian government for Haiti, which paid out $8 million after the earthquake struck. Questioned on the difficult issue of whether aid should be provided to countries whose corrupt governments profit from the help, she said at the heart of EU aid is its neutrality.
But when it comes down to helping victims of wars or natural disasters, humanitarian aid has to be blind for the political dimensions.
The humanitarian aid budget is sacred, however, she added, and should be kept separate from civil protection funding. It should not be allowed to fall into the hands of those who abuse power. Military intervention in difficult circumstances could prove helpful, but only as a last resort. She also confirmed her intention to implement a report written by French EPP MEP Michel Barnier, proposing a European voluntary humanitarian aid corps that would better coordinate aid efforts and be ready to deploy quickly.
I completely agree, it's optimistic, but the timing is natural because 2011 is the year of the volunteers. So if you are to do this corps, that's a good time to do it. And I also really believe that if it is in the Lisbon Treaty, paragraph 214, it is there. So we need to work on it and make it happen.